Hey guys, and welcome back to a new Nutty Geeky podcast stream. And as you can tell, it's late. 5:55, and we're I'm testing out a new style of stream. I'm gonna be streaming at a later hour. So, and this isn't concrete. So, this isn't concrete. So, it's not gonna happen all the time. This is just a test run. See if people like it. See if my stream hours or my watch time hours on streams increase. So anyway, enough rambling on. Today's stream or today's podcast is about the reason why Bruce Wayne became Batman. And I know everyone knows how Bruce became Batman, but if we did that, then everyone would be off the stream. So this is a different take. So without further ado, let's begin. So the reason why Bruce became Batman is because of his trauma that he faced when he was younger. And that trauma stayed with him. And he was so devastated by what happened to his parents, Bruce decided to become Batman, and Bruce decided to become Batman to make sure that no one could ever face the same problem that he did. Just trying to adjust my chair. Anyway, so he didn't want anyone to have the same problem that he did. So he decided to dress up in a Halloween costume, go out and put people who do crimes in the hospital and leave them with several broken bones. And this trauma carried over from his childhood to his adulthood. But rather than saying that he wants help or goes to therapy, he just decides to put on a Halloween costume, go out into the city, and leave people with broken bones. And if Bruce doesn't want help, then he will just ignore his problems and continue his work as Batman. And this problem doesn't carry over to all of the different versions of Batman, but one in particular version of Batman that took it way too far was Absolute Batman. Because Absolute Batman is a unit. A unit that hits like what's the appropriate word for the term I want to use? He hits the venom. He hits the venom so much, he's the size of like 6 refrigerators. And his calves are the size of someone's chest. And he stole a dump truck. A construction worker dump truck thing. Those vehicles. Yeah, I think they're a dump truck. Those construction vehicles that have like the thing like this, and it like folds out, and it folds in like this or something. But Batman has so much trauma from the incident as a child that carries over to his adulthood and some of his variants. Like his father, Thomas Wayne. But rather than Bruce's parents not alive anymore, it's Bruce in Thomas's case, where Thomas Wayne is going through the same trauma but worse. Where he does something much worse to grieve his pain. He has a couple of drink substances. Let's call it that. Where Thomas became Batman in the Flashpoint universe, Martha is the Flashpoint Joker. And no matter which way you scratch it, if you put trauma and bats together, you're gonna have the same situation with a whole bunch of different people. And this is not good, because if you put trauma and accidents, let's call it that, together, if you mix those things in a blender, then you're gonna get like some middle-aged man running around in a bat suit, sending people in the hospital. And that is not very good because they also get another thing, which is sleep apnea. Because they want to go out in the middle of the night and break a few skulls and break a few bones and send a couple of people in the hospital. Because why not? Any sane person would realize that this isn't very healthy for someone of that career. Batman doesn't get any sleep, and he only cares about going out and breaking bones. Maybe breaking a wrist, breaking an arm, breaking a leg. But making sure that people are alive. He has a specific set of rules that he follows. He doesn't go for a unaliving type move, and he doesn't use pew-pews. But in the Absolute universe, where Darkseid has gotten control of the Spectre, where he became the Spectre and made his own universe in his own image, where the normal DC characters are more weaker, where Superman is not as strong as he is in the main DC universe, but somehow Batman became like jacked and trained his body to be like in peak condition, like even more peak condition than normal Batman. I have a comic that has Absolute Batman on the front. This is Absolute Batman. What would you do if you saw this dude come up to you? If I saw that dude come up to me, then I would run screaming. Because he is absolutely jacked, and I bet he has years of trauma. Not the trauma, not on the terms of regular Batman, but different types of trauma. Because Absolute Batman's Martha Wayne is still alive. But I can imagine that in order to become a superhero, especially on especially if you're on the line of when it comes to uh when it comes to having someone you care about not alive anymore, especially in the case of Batman, because if you're if you are younger and you're walking down an alley of a movie theater and some dude comes up and unalives your parents, then that would be something, all right, and that would definitely give you a lot of trauma that that would turn you into a rich billionaire from your family, from your family's riches, and yeah, that would be something else where you just saw your parents unalived when coming home from a movie. You I don't know what else to say. You that would be so much trauma that you could never recover from, especially if you're Batman or any other variant of Batman. And you want to know what's worse? Taking in taking in aside taking in someone who had a similar experience to you and saying, "Oh hey, you have nowhere to go. Do you want to become my sidekick?" And when they become older, they see that your ways, the the way that they're doing things is not a way that you agree with. So you become your own superhero and move to a more dangerous populated city where there could be more trauma and you could create another version of the same type of scenario where they become a rich man with a lot of trauma and they don't take care of their trauma healthily and they send people to the hospital. That is not a very good healthy way to deal with things, because it's like, oh hey, my parents are unalived and I have like a lot of money and I'm gonna train myself to go out and fight dangerous people and become very skilled enough to break their bones. Especially if you're going up against a person who takes a substance to make themselves stronger And that's what Batman did. He was training himself so hard, he literally broke his like muscles from lifting too much, and he took a earlier version of Bane's like substance, and he became, and he had like and he had trouble dealing with it. You know how unmentally messed up you have to be in order to become willing to take a substance that messes with your head. It just messes you up that you would want to take substances to become even stronger than the person you're trying to fight. Another messed up thing is when a heavier weight class you're trying to beat breaks your back in half and you have to go in the hospital to recover, and you have to have another person don your mantle, and it's all good at first. Gotham is getting its crazy like crime rate down, but everything starts going downhill when your replacement is starting to do like more harsher and harsher things, and you have to come back and take them down. Batman is not a good like superhero role to be, because you gotta have like some trauma, then you gotta be like crazy enough to like train yourself to be very strong enough to break bones, and strong enough to land people in the hospital. I will be right back, guys. Alright, I'm back, guys. Anyway, the Batman mantle is not very easy because it takes like a lot of like trauma to become Batman in any sort of way possible. It's it's not a very good thing to become Batman, and it's not very healthy to become Batman because if if it takes if it takes your parents to if it takes your parents to be unalived to train yourself in like every sort of style of combat to become Batman, then it's not the risk I would take. Because if you're Batman, then that means you have to like harbor any sort of like human feelings, like caring for people, having kids, getting married, stuff, all sorts of stuff. And I know there's much more. I know there's versions of Batman that aren't like this, but those are like early early versions of Batman, like Adam West, Brave and the Bold Batman, and and cartoon Batman, cartoon versions of Batman, such as Batman Beyond, which that show was very dark. But they still found a way to include the the Batman aesthetic. But Batman is such a like dark and disturbing type character, and Batman has other sort of dark and disturbing aspects of his character, like the Joker. In one alternate like timeline or variant, Batman finally got rid of the Joker and he became the Batman who laughs because Bat Joker had this Joker gas, this special Joker gas that made him as crazier as the Joker, or the same amount of crazy. Then then the then that Batman became the Darkest Knight, which is like essentially a god. And that's even more scarier because he's an alternate version of of Batman, or the Joker if you want to class him as a variant of the Joker. But it takes a lot of negative stuff to become the Batman, to become Batman. And he doesn't deal with his trauma. He doesn't do anything with his trauma. He doesn't go to therapy. He doesn't get help. And it's just not too good. this isn't healthy for anybody. And he doesn't even get any sleep. And Superman is trying, the Justice League try to help him out in some stories and some occasions, but he really does not want any help, and he doesn't really want to take care of his problems that led him to become Batman. And this is not very healthy for a person. He's just keeping all of his negative emotions in a ball. He's not talking about his negative emotions. He doesn't really care about his emotions. All he cares is about Batman, and he doesn't really do anything to get help. Even when Alfred wants him to go to bed or go to sleep, he won't go to sleep unless Alfred forces him to. And only then, the next night, it's an endless cycle. It repeats. It doesn't stop with Batman. Even heck, he believes that Batman is the only identity that Bruce Wayne has. Batman is just the result of Bruce is just a result of a younger version of Bruce Wayne that had trauma when he was younger, and he didn't really stop it from growing. It grew and grew till everyone could see that it was a problem. And Bruce doesn't even get help for it. And he thinks that Batman is a good thing. But Batman might be bringing more problems to Gotham City. Batman might, if Batman left, then the Joker would leave. But if Batman was gone, then more crime might come. So it might be both worlds. It might be Batman is monitoring the crime. Batman might be a problem. And welcome to the stream. Batman might be a problem. Batman might also be the solution too. But Batman is not. Batman is definitely not the solution to Bruce Wayne's problem. Maybe if Bruce Wayne recognized his problem sooner and was smart enough to realize that Batman is a problem and he should have someone else deal with the problem with him, then maybe Batman wouldn't be like so dark and depressive. Batman is just so Batman is just so much of a problem, like how you and I deal with problems. Batman is unhealthy for Bruce. Welcome to the stream. Batman is so unhealthy that it's a problem. It's an unhealthy problem for Bruce to become Batman and let Batman be his life during the night. Sure, Bruce Wayne is during the day and sometimes at night. But in certain shows we don't even see Bruce Wayne at all. It's just Batman. And he doesn't really take care of his problems since Batman came a thing. When he was finally old enough, when Batman Year One came out, sure, he was just learning how to be Batman, but that's when the problem was starting to be apparent. That's when Batman started to become more of a threat, more scary. And some versions of Batman are just that. They're more harsher and more scary versions of the normal Batman. Some of them don't even have the rules that he does. Like the there's this one specific Batman who's like the Punisher, and when he's shown, he gets out a flamethrower and melts Mr. Freeze. Batman doesn't do that, and I think he's called the Grim Knight, that version of Batman, who's more like the Punisher from Marvel Comics. If Batman doesn't control himself, then he's gonna end up like the Grim Knight. He's not gonna be himself. He's gonna be a more darker and more sinister version of Batman. And we already have different versions of Batman that do that. Like the Grim Knight that I mentioned. Batman is a unhealthy persona that Bruce Wayne takes. And each comic that comes out, there's only gonna be more and more instances where Batman doesn't take the precautions that he needs. And we have instances of Batrocitus, a version of Batman who became Atrocitus. The Red Lantern. And we don't really know, or I don't know much about Atrocitus or Batrocitus, but he is a version of Batman who's a Red Lantern. And I imagine for his origin, it's pretty much the same with the normal origin, but he became enraged by the fact that his parents are no longer alive. And the rage sort of turned him into a monster. But like all the different dark multiverse Batman that don't get a long enough debut, he's gone like that by the Dark Knight. By the Darkest Knight, I meant. I keep forgetting his name. All these different alternate, some of these alternate versions of Batman are different and darker adaptations of Batman who just let his Batman persona take over his Bruce Wayne side. And it's not very healthy. He's not getting the help that he needs. Everyone everyone please everyone pleads to Batman to take the night off and get some sleep. But he just shrugs it off and says, "Crime never sleeps." And he goes out and does the usual Batman thing. But in one comic, where Batman is like 75 years old or something, he does retire and goes out to be Batman one last time. And after he goes out and beats up crime for one last time, that's the end of that version of Batman. But no matter what version of Batman there is, some instances his trauma takes over and he's a evil dark version of Batman, and sometimes he's more toned down and more happy-go-lucky. But in most iterations of Batman, he's just some 30-year-old or something year old adult who goes out and puts people in the hospital. And it's just not healthy. It's not healthy to deal with trauma in this way. It's not very good. It's not very healthy to deal with trauma. Normal people would go to a therapist, talk to a therapist, talk to family, talk to friends, get their stuff situated, but not Bruce Wayne. You know what Bruce Wayne does? He becomes a adult who puts on a bat costume every night and goes and puts people in the hospital. And you know how much hospital bills cost? They're certainly not cheap. And some injuries are permanent. Some injuries you never recover from. And on like most occasions, Batman's dealing with like monsters, gods, and other sort of like inhuman things. Like Darkseid. Darkseid is a god. Darkseid is, in some iterations, he's unstoppable. You can't get rid of him. But mainly in the comics, he has a godhead that is outside like existence. You can't get to his like physical form, and his physical form is his godhead. But in the shows and like all other media, Darkseid is just Darkseid. And if you're strong enough, you can get rid of them. And Batman's going up against like otherworldly beings from outer space and other things. But most, but when you're dealing with like normal people, just break their arm and send them to the hospital. Send them, send them into the hospital with like a broken arm, a broken leg, and give them severe injury. That's what that's what Batman does to cope with the loss of his parents. And it's just so unhealthy to do what Batman does. It's just so unhealthy. It's just so unhealthy to do what Batman does. And Batman's human. He's immortal. He can he can be hurt, and when he does get hurt, when he needs to rest and when he needs to be Bruce Wayne, you know what he does? He gets up when everyone says that he needs to rest. And Batman's just like, crime doesn't take a holiday, and crime does not wait. Or something like that. Dude, you just got hurt. Severely. And you're out there every single night of your entire life. You don't get any sleep. You don't get any rest. All you do is come back to the Batcave, do a little analysis, and go back out there to fight more crime. The least you can do is take a break because you're exhausted. You're beaten and battered and you're tired. The least you can do is not overexhaust yourself because you're tired. So why don't you go get dressed, go in your pajamas or something like that, and go to bed. Why don't you have someone else deal with the world outside of the Batcave? You put all your time and effort into being Batman. Batman is not healthy. Batman is a addiction. This this mental problem, this trauma. Why don't you go to bed, get some rest, and go do all the rest, go take care of it the next night. There's plenty of other superheroes that are strong enough or even stronger to take care of all the villains. Batman doesn't get help when he needs to get help. Batman just wants to deal with all the problems that he has. Because he feels like it's his responsibility all the time. Dude, it's not your responsibility. Just let someone take care of the work for you. You don't need to take care of all your work at once. You need rest. You need a break from Batman. All you do is Batman, 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 Batman. I understand you're a superhero who works at night, but you're a mortal man. You need sleep, you need rest, you need food. You need to take care of all your human amenities. You can't deal with this all by yourself. Batman takes care of everything all by himself. And everyone knows how impossible it is to take care of everything at once. We have 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, and 2 arms and 2 legs, and no superpowers. I know in the DC universe, you have superpower. You can get superpowers. You can be born with superpowers. You can get given superpowers. But one of the characters that don't have superpowers is you. You don't have superpowers, Bruce. Batman doesn't have superpowers. But how does Batman take care of much stronger people than he is? I don't know. Comic books do not make sense. Last time I checked, I can't get superpowers from radiation. I can't get superpowers from doing this or having this happen to me. If I get bitten by a radioactive spider, then that happens. And I don't understand the obsession that this whole trauma thing has on Batman, because He's human. If he gets exhausted, he gets exhausted. Sorry about that. And when you get exhausted, you get tired. And if you get too tired, then you crash. And if you repeat the cycle, over and over and over again, then you're not gonna be alive. And I'm pretty sure that Batman takes like micro naps or something to get rejuvenated. But if being Batman is so important, then you should at least take precautions to not get tired out and to make sure that you're taking care of your human amenities. Because if you don't take care of your human amenities, like sleeping, eating, then your body will give out on you. It won't work. It will stop working and you won't be alive. And when someone like Superman asks to do something for Batman, Batman says no because he'd rather do it himself. And the whole persona of Batman, the whole entity of Batman is just Bruce's childhood trauma. He does not do anything to help. He does not do anything to take care of it. He does not do anything at all to take care of his trauma. He's just Batman, and that's all he cares about is being Batman. If there's like meetings and Bruce Wayne stuff, he will take care of that. But when night comes, he's always trying to track down like the villain. He's trying to figure out a riddle that Riddler does. He's trying to figure out what the villain is up to next. Okay. He's trying to always figure out things. He's trying to figure out problems that the villains have caused. I think this is a good stopping place. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the later stream, like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video or stream. Bye, guys.